Alright, mate. Yeah, man. Fucking. This is a good game, dude. I'm really enjoying it. Well. Well, to be honest with you, mate, I was really looking forward to it when because it was first announced like 4 years ago, back when the PS4 was first announced, and I always thought it looked, just off the aesthetic, the look of it, it looked pretty good, man. Because I like a good adventure game in that style, as we both enjoyed Hob. But then I heard the reviews, and they just slated it, and then it came on the Switch, and people slated it, and I thought, well, it's free, it's not going to cost anything, I'll give it a try, and I started to really enjoy it. Once I got past the first area, because it's a pretty big game, and I thought, I'm going to go back online and see what people actually said about it. And while there were a few people being quite vocal in regards to like the negative parts of it, there were some reviews hailing it as one of the best games of the last year. Now, I wouldn't quite go that far, but it's certainly a really good game, and it's broken up into like 4 or 5 acts, and each act is very different from the first one. What you've seen so far in the beginning bit, it changes loads from that. Still the very same mechanics. There's no real combat in it, but the world is like really interesting, and there's a lot of puzzles and stuff like that. So yeah, I think you'll like it, man. Yeah, I know you do. I mean, well, knowing that you enjoyed Hob, that's why I messaged you, because I thought, well, you enjoyed Hob, and we was both looking for something else like that after Hob, and this would have scratched that itch. Definitely. So I thought I'd message you, man, because I know you picked it up in that light. So sorry, what did you say? Give it a shot. Yeah, download it, man. It's definitely, because like you purchased it, you paid like what, $20, $30 for it or whatever. You may as well fucking try it again. Full price, yeah. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I think it's worth that. Definitely. Now, the difference between the PS4 and the Switch is you got trophies on the PS4, and so you do want to go out and like search every nook and cranny, because like if I was playing it on the Switch, I probably wouldn't be searching everywhere looking for the secrets. The trophies, but I would be like enjoying solving the puzzles and the aesthetic of it, like. So there is that missing, but I'd still definitely enjoy this on the Switch. Very like Zelda-esque kind of game. Beautiful looking as well, man. I mean, yeah, the first, I think Crystal played it as well, Wookie's friend, and I think she gave up quite soon, but it's actually, it's that good that, each area is different enough that you don't get fatigued from just doing the same shit. Because all I've seen on the game up until I played it was that first area. And, but there's no written dialogue, there's no dialogue in the game whatsoever, verbal or text. But there is a good story to it. Very intriguing one, a lot of mystery. But yeah, I think you'll like it, man. I've played enough games with you and spoke to you long enough that I think you'd definitely enjoy this. And I thought I'd let you know, man. What do you mean? In like, okay, probably not. No, I mean, without to blow my own trumpet, so to speak, I kind of like pick up on stuff quite quickly on games. Like Wookie's one for like giving up really easy and going on YouTube to find a solution, whereas myself, I like won't do that. I know you're the same, you try not to do that yourself, but I think I've got quite good. I mean, when I started, I didn't like go off in one particular direction. It was like, I'm just going to explore, and in doing so, it was like I kind of saw that, okay, this first area is starting, you have to solve like puzzles all around it to get the solution to the middle to open that door up. And once I realised, okay, this is a puzzle game, not just a platform game, I started to really enjoy it, man. And I think they incorporate the puzzles in a way that it kind of speeds a part of the story. Yeah, I mean, I'm not any difficulty with it. I wouldn't say it's a hard game. I did get screwed over on a couple of trophies, which pissed me off. But Oh, there you go, we've got another trophy, patience. Like this bit here, I'm running down a corridor that's never ending. It's never ending. So like, I realised, okay, I've got to find another path around and obviously do something to find, you know, it's like a labyrinth or something. But I thought, running down this corridor, I thought, if I stick at running this corridor, I bet I'll get a trophy. And sure enough, I did. But like I said, I got screwed out on a couple of other trophies. Yeah, I just kept running. There's a thing that I've noticed in a lot of puzzle games. If you, it's like that, yeah, like for doing things like that, like in Limbo, for instance, that game is literally a platform game and you're going from right to left the whole time. But as I've learnt with a lot of games, sometimes when you start, if you go left instead of right and just check, sometimes it's like as a trophy or a hidden secret and stuff. And I applied that thing into this. And I think it works because the guy that made this game, his influence was from games like Ico and Zelda and stuff, which do have those kind of moments where you think about trying something, you try it and it actually works, which I like. Happens a lot in Zelda.
Wow.
But it was weird, man. Because before I started playing it, I looked at the reviews and the dichotomy between the mainstream news and this one other Twisted Reviews it's called. Everyone else gave it like 6 out of 10. Whereas Twisted Reviews gave it 9.5. And I thought, what? Are they for real? This game is not a 9.5. But after playing it, definitely it's not a 6. I would class it as a 7.5 to an 8. You know? And when I say like, I think like reviews are skewed nowadays. Most people, when they see games, if it's a 7 or less, then avoid it. And that's become the standard, and that's not my opinion. Average game should score 5 out of 10, right? Middle of the road, it's an average game. Good, 6, very good, 7, great, 8, you know, it's like that, you know, because I think the review system is broke. Yeah, and I'd also do like, you know, rent, okay, it's a 5 out of 10, so maybe rent it, because it's an average game, which it's like. And like games like The Witcher, Skyrim, Zelda, like I'd give them like a 9.5. I'd never give a game 10 out of 10, but I'd give it like 9.5 out of 10. I think every game's got room for improvement somewhere. Like no game's perfect. But the mentality these days, if it's a 7, if anything less than a 7, then it's not worth getting, and that's just wrong. But yeah, I'd put it on the same level as Hob. Obviously the aesthetics of this game is very different to Hob. This is a proper 3D game, but it's yeah, well thought out. The guy who made this game, dude, he got slated on Twitter and on social media, and it affected him that much. And he shouldn't have said this. He told everyone that he cried for 3 days because of the negative feedback he got from this game. Now I can understand people are very passionate about the project. You know, this is maybe something that he's been wanting to make his whole life, but to admit on Twitter that you cried for 3 days after reading some of the comments, like, Jesus, dude. You know, you never admit that. Even if you did, you just don't admit it because you've got so many trolls out there. It's fucking, yeah, you know. You say I locked myself away and cried for 3 days. Like, Jesus, dude. Was you on your fucking period? Yeah, exactly. People fucking love that shit on YouTube. I mean, on fucking comments and stuff. They do say as well, like, the guy, Neil Druckmann, who, as you know, he made, like, Uncharted and The Last of Us. He said when he first started looking on Reddit and that, and reading the comments, it did depress him initially. So when you're making something that you always are, yeah. I mean, he got a lot of negative feedback on the comments from The Last of Us, because Ellie was a lesbian. Got so much hate because of that. And he says initially that really did affect him in that light, but he's become thick-skinned, which you have to do. If you put in your heart and soul into a project and something shits all over it, you've got to be ready for that. Because it'll just fucking destroy you.
Wow.
Oh, they really are. And it's like, who the fuck are you to comment anyway like that? It's like, what have you done in your life that's fucking... Yeah. There was Jim Sterling, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's like a famous like YouTuber that reviews games within the industry, but he's one of those guys you either love him or hate him. I think he's okay, but he kind of annoys me. He's some fat British guy, but he knows his shit. And he stopped doing reviews because, I mean, he takes blame for a lot of it because he reviewed that Hellblade, Sienna's Sacrifice, which is really good. It got nothing but raving reviews, but he gave it a 1 out of 10 because he thought the game was broke, and he got so much dude, he had threats on his life. He got a lot of people did that DDoS attack on him. Well, there is a certain area you have to go into, and you have to have a torch with you because it's. I think you can do it without a torch, but a lot of it, it's in this area that's black, and you have to use a lot of the audio sound design to get through it. But I think you had to have a torch as well. So I'm not sure exactly, but he forgot to pick up the torch, and he went into this area, and the game auto-saved, so he couldn't go back and get it. So in his mind, the game was broken, so it didn't deserve to score any more than a 1. He also rated Zelda Breath of the Wild less than what everybody else was doing. I can't remember the exact scores, but because he gave it a lower score, and he was like, I don't even know, like Metacritic, they take into account everybody else's reviews, right, and then they do the average from there. And it took his bad review of Breath of the Wild, well, not bad, it was a good review. I think he gave it 7 out of 10. Everyone else gave it 9 and 10 out of 10. But because he gave it 7 out of 10, it knocked it down on Metacritic to 96. It went from being the 3rd best game of all time down to about the 15th or the 11th or something. And he got death threats from that. And they also hacked his account and DDoSed him. You know, that denial of service shit, man. So he says, because of this, I'm not reviewing games anymore, because you can never please anybody. And people get so passionate and so angry. You know? People just get too carried away. I mean, I don't just take one review. I take everyone's review, or a few reviews. Subjective, isn't it? I mean, if I'm reviewing a game, it's going to be subjective anyway, because this is my opinion. I might love this game, and then you play it and think it's trash. So, you know, it's very hard to like appease everybody. But that's why I don't just go to one fucking reviewer. I'll go to a few and do my research, because everyone's got a different opinion. But to threaten his life, dude, and yeah, don't ever finish, right? Exactly, and that's why. Yeah, and that's exactly why I wouldn't. I mean, I always wanted to be in